saying?
Red. Room dead.
A serious thing, man. We give thanks for everyone tuned in while and Nick Dread from those times till now. Fire, what are we reason about today?
Yeah, well, today we are reason about the concept of soft parenting. And we feel like soft parenting, it's causing a problem not just for the immediate parents within the situation, but I think it's causing a bigger, there's a more macro problem that we need to assess. And there are certain micro attributes where I contribute to that. I like nowadays, it seems like them not really listen at all to anything that's being said to them. But if them not listen to the first person where I give them the instruction, then it causes a bigger problem. We have to talk about it.
Fire, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but usually with comedians, this is like one of the things they always do, particularly black comedians. They say like, they'll criticize white parenting and say, well, the white children, then, if a black person said that, this and that. But what I've been observing now is the black children are doing that and nothing's being done. All right, I was in the airport the other day, right? The amount of talking I saw going from parents to these kids, they're like, why are you talking to this child? The man clearly said, a black man at that fire, right? Clearly told this child to stop doing this fire. And the child continued to do this thing fire and continue to do this thing to this man, just let it be. And that's what I'm saying. The soft parenting is making everyone else's life hard. Now, if here go the thing, right? There was a situation, I think I told you about it, where the child was playing in the active driveway, right? That was a weird situation. Because, as an adult, it's like, hey, kind of softly guide the child off. But you can't even do that right now. Because if I did it, the mother gonna curse me out. That particular mother. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all women gonna do that, but that particular mother would curse me out.
So now that internally, like most people who would want to see a youth go astray and help a youth now, it's almost like due to the way how them see the parents even react to them giving any form of advice or any form of correction to their child. Most people now automatically back out of that. So now we have less guidance, less collective input towards the youth them development. And I feel like that messed up. But I really want I don't want to forget the point though, because I like how you start after reasoning and still fire. But I love how the man that start the reasoning and gone straight in the big deal, because that's the wrong bang. A father, a disciplinarian in a most household is known historically to be the father. So when time a father after repeat himself and repeat himself now.
Confused. Why is this man talking to
then a confusion
so that I was there confused, trying to process like, why are you talking to this child so much?
That have to be confusion, because that simply means one, imagine if you talk to him like that, then imagine what about when the mother reason with the youth them?
Nothing not happening.
Then that means no movement at all now, did it?
And we know, listen, let's just put it out there, Fire. Like, and I'm not trying to be sexist or sound away, Fire, but we know already with the child, especially these modern children, which I have observed, is that kids ain't really listen to their mothers like that, Fire.
Historically.
Like it is
historically,
what it is,
that's
right?
the truth.
Boys. So like usually it's the father kind of hold down the thing and balance out the thing.
And most women, I would think most women would agree to that, because them look forward to that extra discipline where a father can bring towards to support any form of agenda.
The program. I'm noticing now fathers not that strength again now. Not all, but I'm seeing more and more talk specifically from black men, because I want to go back to that comedy context, because that was the thing. Oh, they'll say like, oh, little Timmy said such and such. You know the joke. You know the
joke. And then they must say that can't happen. Yeah. You don't get this, yeah.
I had these kids. I'm
so now leave from one extreme where it was supposed to be based upon this physical violence in a sense, then and it lead towards a whole heap of nothing.
But here go the next thing. I have to put this into the role too. I got to put this out there. What I'm noticing is now the mothers aren't allowing the fathers to parent. And the father now, I guess, just to keep things structured and
just work with the
program to his demise and to the whole household's demise. This little child not listening to nothing that she's saying.
Yeah. Got too much. And I think this whole heightened sensitivity. A lot of people don't like to hear the term, but it's just a reality. There's this heightened sensitivity around feelings and emotions, and there's a misconstrued concept around what emotions are and how to portray emotions, because I think with them trying to set a campaign on emotions, how to control emotions.
Yeah.
What has been done now by the system with altering this emotion is that they've put too much emphasis and too much focus on the aspect of youths crying, and when youths crying, understanding why they're crying. They don't even go to the concept of understanding why they're crying. They put emphasis just on the crying. And now it is a leeway that anytime a youth do something, they have an excuse to get away from a systematic perspective, and that start playing to the mind of the parents.
And I want to be clear for those listening, because they come with the food. We're not talking about beating up children and all that.
No.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the discipline, the respect that you should generate for you. Where the child just receives, you know what I'm saying? They know the program, like, man, I'm stepping over the boundaries right now. Like, this person is talking to me. I need to listen. I need to do the action that they're requesting.
Who clothe the youth?
Yeah.
Who clothe you?
Yeah.
Me clothe you. Who feed you? Me feed you. Who set a foundation for you? Me set a foundation for you. Who set a full agenda for you where I make you get a development? Me do all of that same way as your parent. Who brought you to this earth? I brought you to this earth as a parent. Yeah. That don't give me the right to own you. Yeah. But when we're talking about the development of you, I own the development of you. Let's put that
responsibility. You own the responsibility.
The responsibility of leading you towards a development, so you can continue on your part, and of course you're going to add your characteristics. If there's something that I do wrong as a parent, you can always check me in a respectable manner, or ask me a question, or get a further clarification for your understanding. But there's no way I should be repeating myself to you 5-6 times. Then who run the situation?
I want to ask you a question, right? Then I'm going to tell you about the experience I had where I had to just say, I was in the wrong, right? But before I tell you about how I was in the wrong, right? Do you think soft parenting is really an excuse for lazy parenting?
Soft parenting is an excuse for lazy parenting. In some instance, most instance, I don't think it's all.
Because you have very active parents that are soft parents.
Soft, but I just think they're soft based upon their idea or their upbringing, their idea of what proper parenting is. They think a child will just come around by them sucking up on time and sucking up and giving in to the child, not understanding that the child actually come around through enforcement. Not an enforcement of no physical punishment, but an enforcement of boundaries. Understanding what boundaries are, what the situation is, how you should go about solving the situation.
Repercussions for your actions.
A repercussion for your actions.
Yeah. Because the the reason I asked that is that, like, and I'm glad you clarified in regards to you could do soft parenting and be very engaged and be active. Just the tactics that you're using aren't that beneficial. But the reason I brought it up is because it's like some of the soft parenting is just like, especially with the teenagers, they don't want to have those hard conversations, or they don't want to deal with the pushback. That's the term that they use, right? That's a politically pushback. Specifically with cell phones, right? Parents are always complaining about screen time and cell phones, but it's like,
who control that?
You bought it. You're on your Wi-Fi that you pay for. Why don't you take back control? There are many things you could do in regards to locking down the phone, but by locking down the phone, you're going to get the pushback, right? And now for the parent, what do I do with this extra time that my child has to keep this child engaged?
Key.
So that's the weird situation in the cop-out. Because we don't want to deal with these other things. It's like, I'll give them this, but I'll just complain and say that they're on the phone all day or they're on the iPad all day.
Yeah, because it seems more feasible. Especially when you think about you having a schedule and thing, and you have to try and maintain your schedule. Now you have an alibi, so to speak, of why you met the youth slide. And then there's no, especially if a father is missing from the household or one of the parents missing from a household, then it becomes now you have more things to take away from your accountability. So you don't hold yourself accountable for most of these actions because we can't make that slide. That piece that I just mentioned is key. Where there's no, for that big void, if you take away this technology from the youths, this void, they're going to be around you. What do you do? Most of the time you're on the phone talking about unprogressive stuff, talking about other people. They're not seeing you consistent in anything. You just start something, you stop. They're seeing this overburden. You see how you're overburdened and how stress become the major part of your life. Now they start feeding off of these things. The youth them start get miserable earlier. You realize a lot of young youth now and they're miserable. that there's no activity with that for the youth.
We had a long reasoning the other day. Wasn't I tell you about how Bring Me Joy, our kids still had that spark in their eye?
All right.
Because what I'm noticing, the dead eyes I remember from adults. Teenage, the eyes get dead, like life gone, fighting and giving up.
No, it transfer to the youth.
I've seen it in kids, fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing it in the young kids where it's gone already. And usually it's there. So it's a joy now to see the spark in a child's eye when that was the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Just had that joy, that innocence.
Just be a child.
Yeah. But now it's like they all stressed out, fire, their eyes empty, like a little soulless child we're looking at right now.
Mm-hmm. Them transfer the energy towards the youth them now and then it's almost like them transfer the energy to the youth, and most times it's like begging the youth to come back and see the light when they realize the problem gone. And that is where it is, because the moment when you see, we undermine the intelligence of most of these children.
Big time.
And I think that's where we go wrong as adults. Because we become adults and we forget that we were a child. We forgot that we were once child.
We forget the brilliance that we had
as a child. Yeah. So right off the top now, when we start pleading to these youths to actually follow okay, all right. There's a lot of monotones. There are monotones being used for youths. Oh, please just stop do this activity. Don't do this. Why are you doing that? Please just don't do that. No. Well, automatically, when you have a tone like that now and set that tone for the youth or the precedents, nobody not paying you any mind. They do that. They do that regardless. Yeah. But when you actually become assertive and let them know, yo, that can't work. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, let's start a conversation. Why did you actually go and do that? Yeah. What was your reasoning for doing that? Explain yourself to me, and I want you to explain yourself thoroughly right now. Explain, because one, if you're doing an action and you didn't think it out, then that's impulsive. That's why were you impulsive in this moment? Yeah. And then automatically I tell you to correct it and you hesitate to correct it. So what was hesitation for? We need it to be broken down so we can see where we're gonna fix it. Because we're not playing that game right now. Yeah.
It seemed like fire. You know how you had to show the nanny. Yo, you see how you had to show the nanny. You had to show fire out here and go around people's house and help them with parenting, yeah.
Because you see, the juvenile know, you know.
That's hilarious.
The juvenile know, you know. So you see, we had reason about it the other day to our fear about the respect part, and I think this is something key. We love it. They emphasize on the concept of like just respect or youth's family respect for your parent. I don't know if you can remember exactly what you said. But
I'm not sure what I said exactly, but I know it always comes down to that consistency. Like, all right, I'm not saying you can learn about parenting through teaching. But my experience, I became such a better parent because of teaching, right? And just learning more about the kids. And like the consistency, that's why I say most parents don't have the, what's the term? They don't have the energy to be a parent. It's a lot of, no, I'm just keeping it a buck. It's not a criticism.
No, it's too true. It's too true.
It's not the criticism, but like the teaching I had, that energy was the same thing every day.
Yeah.
No deviation. Like every day. If you did something, you got it. Everyone. So with the parent, it has to be that consistency. And I see the parent, because they don't have that level of energy, it fluctuates. So it's like, today you militant, you let it slide. Yeah. This is a free fall. You're tired, so today you militant again. And the kid, they not take is the kid. You can't build no structure with the inconsistency.
And so maybe if I do this today, this might just pass. I'm gonna do it anyway.
You don't know, so it's like versus like fire. This is not gonna work because every time I do this, boom, and I don't want to be bothered or I just feel whatever. But that consistency and mixed with the consistency of the principles or the behaviors that you want to see and checking them on it. That time, fire. Like it's the time. And everyone's in a different situation. The only thing I would say, some people in situations where they just generally due to work and whatever, they don't have time. And others, because of the lifestyle they want to maintain, the occupation that they have, they choose not to have time. And I want to be clear. You can have time if you want it. You chose. This is more important than those things. Now, don't expect to forget relationship. I put that to the side with the kid, a relationship with kid. Don't expect to have the respect from that child without that time. You can't buy respect from a child. The only way to get it is time. And if you're not putting in that time, You're not gonna have that level of respect. I can leave my house fight, and you know this, right? I can leave my house and observe. I look at how the husband treat the wife, and I look at how the wife treat the husband, how they interact. Then I look at how the child interacts with the parents. That's all I need to know. It's only two people that really know you on earth, fire. Your spouse and your child. Your parents don't know you. Your brother don't know you. Your sister, your friends, because you changed from then. The only people who really know who you are in this space and time is your spouse and your children.
Them say every day living.
So if I see a man that's friendly with everybody, but then now I see him with the child and the child don't have no ratings for him or the wife. So I saw
something. Yeah. Because I said most people don't even understand that. Hey, I think I would even advise most people start playing with your children.
Yeah.
Because you see, because they don't play with their children, it's always it's just like an army and you're getting a command. Let's just do a command. I'm getting this command. I need to go fall in line, do this command. So automatically that build up some form of resentment. And then that resentment now is where them end up after you talk so much, knowing that. And then when the youth realize they've been talking so much, but there's no action behind it, then the resentment it's almost like fuel to the resentment.
And speaking about fuel, you're going to fuel some behavior with the child just trying to get your attention anyway.
Yes,
man. It's the only source of getting attention is when they do wrong, They're going to do wrong. It's just
can't be one way.
Yeah, and the thing with the time now, the time is so important because it's just the child is exposed to so many different phases of you. You have the playful side, you have the serious side, you have the chill side, because they see it. But when there's not a lot of time on the interaction, as you said, it's basically military. Then there ain't no vibe for you. Fight. It's like, you don't.
It's a one-way thing.
They're not going to tell you nothing that's going on, which is a problem. You want to have that open form of communication to say, man, this happened to me. I'm feeling this way. But that comes through time.
Yeah.
And like people don't, I think, and I want to be clear when I say this to keep things in perspective, there are a lot of people who have no time due to their occupation. They're working 2-3 jobs, or they may be there by themselves. This is for those who actually have time in the lifestyle. We're not understanding how the lifestyle that we want is impacting our relationships, because that lifestyle is not conducive for healthy relationships because it's too much time to maintain the lifestyle. And when you are there, you're not present.
But I think even with the people who don't have time, because I've been thinking about this concept for a while, but even with people who don't have time, I think there's reinforcements that you have to lay down some form of reinforcement, like reinforcement of that affection with every single chance you get. And once you can lay down that reinforcement, I think that kind of fills, it won't fill the gap. We know it's better than nothing at all. And it lay that foundation for the respect once that reinforcement is here, because you can see this. Consistency is such an important thing to youths and people don't even understand. That's a foundation.
All right, I'm going to give you an example. Back to the teaching and school structure, right? I got to be clear, depending on the demographic that you're in, right? The school is the most structured aspect of that child's life. That teacher is the person that they spend more time with than the parent. And that's like the parent, like whatever, right? Why do you think that relation is they there every day? They there with you every day. You know what I'm saying? You got to check them. You got to chop it up. You got to go through your ups and downs, but it's the consistency and the time. And by the way, I think teachers are the worst parents because they give all at the school. They don't have anything to give home. I just had to throw that in there. Right. But while they're teaching at least. But the thing is that like with everything, I'm telling you, Fire, everything is like losing weight, putting time into losing weight, putting time into your job. We don't consider putting time into relationships, We don't factor in the amount of effort. We have to put effort into everything. We don't put effort into the relationships with other human beings.
Yeah.
It's just we don't think about
intimate relationship.
Yeah, we don't
relationships overall.
Like you have to spend quality time with people. You don't have to be around them all the time, but you have to spend quality time, especially with the children, Fire. I'll observe again. You remember how I say with the ratings, how people conduct themselves. You out in public and your child on the floor spinning around and fight. You know which kids behave the worst? I've noticed in the suburban environment, kids that's with the babysitter all the time and the nanny fight. They're the worst behaved kids out here fighting when they're with their parents. I want to be clear. They may be cool with the babysitter because that's what they spend the time.
Spending time with them.
When they get with the parents, fight.
Them can get with so much.
I don't know if it's attention fight. They don't want different. They don't want different type of behavior.
Yeah.
Then you got the parent there when they get in public. Now they want to be militant. There's no reason for you to be militant in public fight. There's no reason because the child know the program. There's nothing to say to the child.
So there's two things. There's and the two of them detrimental in a way, right? So you see that way you just mentioned a while ago with that concept of being militant in public,
carrying on
like you're consistently doing that. That very detrimental. Yeah. While the opposite of that is also super detrimental, because I noticed this with a lot of parents where basically they will be militant to the youth to a certain extent when the public is not there, but once they're in the public, they're afraid to discipline their youth because they think they're worried about what people might think of them. You think if my youth in public and I embarrass themselves in a public, I'm not gonna check my youth because I'm in public. No, I didn't say I'm gonna physically abuse my youth.
You say spinning on the floor and screaming.
No, that can't work. Oh, it gonna work. So if I let it slide now, all the child have to do is, and children recognize patterns.
They predatory fire.
So once I make that slide one time, and you behave like this and you get to like this without any form of consequences to a certain extent, what you think you're gonna do again? The moment you reach in public, then you will be this best child then in private, and then once you become in this public eyes, what if we start going out more now due to the nature of how things change and we start go? That simply means you become a changed child overall now. You're always throwing temper tantrums and these things. We can't make that slide. No, so seriously. There's a level we have to overstand. So this militants we bring after the youth them. There is too extreme to it that's detrimental, and we can't put more emphasis on one. We have to just be consistent across the board and let the youth them know, say, yo, listen, time and place to everything. Yeah. You have to actually have a balance. And sometimes a youth can sit down and silent too, and them not have to do any other activity too. Because that I think is the next part of where the soft parenting come in.
Over-entertained fighting. All right, here go the next thing I want to tell you. And we see this. If you go out and eat and this kid's fight, they got a tablet in front of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. We were in Brooklyn when, far right? We were in Brooklyn recently, right?
Yeah.
Say we was there I was there earlier from you.
Go after 4.
Yeah, say I was there. I got there like 2-3. We left at 10.
Yeah.
Did Blair have a tablet?
Mm-mm.
Did Blair have a phone?
Mm-mm.
And she just figure away.
It's active, man.
She straight through for about 2 hours.
Straight through,
right, chef? But it's just like
all our own vibes.
But that's the consistent. That's not for sure. That's the consistent behavior.
It's a natural.
She's never had it, so she know how to function and entertain herself and conduct herself. But it's just the consistency.
Mm-hmm. It's important to not youth them, man.
Those children will expose you when you leave your house. Don't get it twisted. They're going to expose you.
And that's when the parents now get embarrassed and start, and them their temper tantrum now start.
They get the temper tantrum. Kids don't rap, right? They're going to expose what goes on.
Yeah,
they deal with like repetition and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why am I behaving different? I never do this. Why am I
doing
this now? What am I doing this for?
Especially if them have that slick mouth, because we're all right. See, most people, even before going to the whole slick mouth thing, I want one thing I try to emphasize always when I deal with my youth is one thing. Listen, me. So when time I talk to you, it's not just a matter of what you're saying, because you have some youth now where I say a whole heap of things and no, you can't say all of these things. But even before going to that, there's certain type of communication. There's verbal communication and there's non-verbal communication. So
energy and
you see, if me talk to you, and you make up your face so, and your face and your aura just you're gonna hold on the head. So no, that means that my message that I bring to you is not brought across to you properly. Yeah. Once you accept and understand what the message that I am bringing across to you, you should be calm and actually soak up and consume that knowledge that I'm giving to you, that information I'm giving to you. Your communication is not just about what is said. It's also what is not said. So when we make all of these things, once upon a time as a youth, if your parents talk to you and you ever make up a frowns,
Oh, you say a box straight?
You're not trouble.
Fine, listen. What you just said ties back to what I was saying. Consistency. And in defense of the parents, modern men, women don't have energy to be, it's a lot of energy. And like, you gotta be healthy fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, man.
Listen, you gotta be fit to be a parent these times. No, seriously, because every day, you can't take no day off.
You them keep it active, man.
You can't take no day off. And I will say in defense of those is that I feel that because the support systems
get weak and our families, so
you know, so it's like
out.
Parents have to spend more time at work and with the child than previous generations. Because I could tell you now, by the time my daughter was maybe 4 or 5, I spent more time with her than I did with my parents. My whole life, as a grown man. So it's different. Because ain't nobody else here where we live. It's just kind of the vibe, you know. But, you know, my grandmother lived downstairs when we were there. Neighbors. One time I had my neighbor pick me up. You get what I'm saying? Or a next person. If you're in a jam, somebody could pick me up. If I'm in the jam, if I got to drop what I'm doing.
Yeah, man, you have to drop that, man.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a backup. And in regards to communities, we spoke about this too. It's such a revolving door in regards to like neighbors and communities now. It's just like every community is a transit.
Broken. It's amazing, man. The rise is amazing, man. I'm telling you, the rise.
So it's like, you know, you had that, because the person you had that could help, like I had a brethren, he gone. He moved. Had the next person, they move. So it's like, because people not here, they don't live here for 20, 30 years, 50 years. You know?
I think America overall
anti-family,
it foster whole anti-family environment and put so much emphasis on always getting that dollar. So you realize that most people always at their job. If they're not at this job, they're at that job. And the moment they come home, dealing with children sometimes tend to become a burden to them, but they can't honestly outright say it's become a burden.
It's not socially acceptable
because them feel now that like them are gonna become some form of a monster towards the eyes of the public, and then not understanding that with them battling up all of this and the way how they treat the youth. So that's why it come off either two ways: the extreme. Either them super soft to the youth to try if it seem like we're maintaining, oh, look at me and my child, we're best friends. Yeah, you should be best friends, but not best friends on that same level. Because we have to understand there's a separation. Yeah, you might be best friends with your child, but can you really be best friends with your child if you understand what I say is when you think about it, because you have to set some form of boundary and barrier that child can't cross.
I think the gist of the thing, as you said, is it's we live in an anti-family society.
America set the way, man.
You know, so it's very hard. Like you have to do a lot of work. To I don't want to say have a relationship with that child, but get that respect from that child. And I'll emphasize it again, the respect thing can't be bought. It's just time. And like work has to be done like a amount of time. You know, somebody probably gonna write a book and say, hey, you know, to get respect for your child, you have to do 1,000 hours, you have to do 2,000 hours and whatever.
It's not written in stone.
It's not written in stone, fight, but you do have to have the consistency. And
just be a role model to the youth too, because from a youth hear them role model them understand that
they rate you know?
Them rate you.
Because the ratings, and that I think, so I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing, but that respect really modifies the behavior. Because like one, they don't want to disappoint you. You get what I'm saying? It's just kind of, they just had that reverence for you, fight. It's like they don't want to really disappoint you too tough. And that kind of influences the behaviors that they have and how they conduct themselves. And like, man, I could do that, but like, yo, dude really told me the program on
Mom,
that. And I want to be a fear.
It's in my brain. In our brain.
And I'm not saying terrified, because that fear thing don't work, fight. Because I will say, like, I got to, with the beating thing, it come like a joke, fight, because it never really changed nobody. I'm a big person.
It get it worse.
And I got my share of beatings, right? And like it didn't like change any behavior.
Probably get them more immune to physical pain, man. That's it.
Told. But like when they had that reverence for you, fighting, it's like, man, like shame.
Standard. There's a standard. You know, drop the standard.
You know? It's like kind of, but that's what most people are ashamed of. Because it's like they just do whatever they want. But the person, like, man, I really don't want my name really too mixed up in this and that, you know? I mean, you know?
All right, you know, me I watch.
Go ahead.
You know, me I watch a series on Paramount called Tulsa King, right?
Yeah.
And in a series, they have the youth who am driver. Him always see him father. Him tell himself him want to be a gangster. Him want to be affiliated with gangster thing. Because him same father is a trade man, but him father always just do work for people and him not really collect as much money, focus on the financial aspects. So him no want to live the hard life there. Yeah. Him always tell himself him no want to do that. And it really make me start thinking to myself, say, you know, say, the main thing is that a lot of the parents, them, don't have something where them do, where tangible or even intangible, and both tangible and intangible, for really showcase to them youth, say, yo, here's the result of what I've been doing. Not just from a financial aspect, but here's the result of what I've been doing. Here's a foundation that I've laid. Make the youth them understand the foundation that was being laid. And said, this I'm not telling you that you have to go do this, you have to go do this or do this. But you see this baseline here?
Yeah.
This is
standard.
It's standard.
Standard.
You don't go lower than the standard.
You know, I had a reason with a brethren, right? And we were talking about like childhood and like families, right? And I noticed that you ever go, you know, certain places people really doing their thing. Not all right?
Yeah.
But people really doing their thing. Not the self-made people.
Yeah.
They kind of come from that family. We hear their family fight as progress there. And it's a standard.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are too extreme.
Yeah.
Where they're stressing them out. But there is a standard, like I think it's better than not having no standard. And like there's a standard to say, yo, I can't really go beneath this. It's not accepted. In my space, it's not acceptable.
Yeah, drop the ball.
Drop the ball, all right? And I know it could be detrimental sometimes. I'm talking about in the proper context. But yeah, it's a standard, man. And like a lot of people don't have a standard, you know? And that ties into another thing I wanted to say in regards to just with this whole parenting thing, man. Like, you know, this idea that learning starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
We need to stop saying that, I think, because like in many homes, there's nothing there beneficial to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not the case. So the parent themselves, they don't have anything to offer. It's not trying to sound cold, but it's just reality. Most people don't have anything to offer to their children.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot going on. They don't have anything beneficial to offer their child.
And the excuses, there's like excuses is a thing I'm realizing it will pass down generations too, you know. So you see, we find so much excuse, you them start finding excuse of things, and then when you know start beg them now, oh no, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Start beg them like this MF. Oh, this MF keep begging me. All right, cool. I'm gonna do something again. Watch them beg me. It's so fun.
I feel empowered.
Empowered now mentally.
But Fire, the last thing I want to say, the reason I brought up this household, that's why it's important that we have institutions, because I hear this push with this homeschooling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can't do homeschooling. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, that's why it's so important that we have institutions that can socialize these children in a proper way outside of the home.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, a person that can't even take care of themselves, how are they going to take care of a child?
Yeah, them not have a structure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
yeah, that's rough.
So we need, like, I think we still need institutions outside of the home to help these children develop.
Again, we can't take the minority and make it look like it's normal. That's the whole thing. We have to be careful.
There are people out there successfully doing homeschool. They have a situation to make it work or whatever. Everyone's not capable of it. Everyone's not capable of it.
Everyone don't have a time either to even facilitate
finances, Fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I just wanted to factor that in. But the thing is, with the parents out there, man,
you have to rough for the youth them sometimes to a certain extent, man. You have to show them what time it is and you demand respect. You don't beg respect.
Yeah, and I think that too, man, more than anything. If you can, you need to look into yourself and see the time situation. You obviously need time for anything be right your child. You gotta put things in the context. But it would be beneficial to you and society if you spend a little more time with your child and also you set the standard, because you can't hold somebody to the standard that you would know. When you set that standard, then it's more, it holds more weight when you try to hold them to the standard. Because what I noticed, especially when it comes to food, there's this thing with parents asking their child to do stuff that they're not doing, and no one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah.